The college football season has indeed started, but for Michigan, it starts tomorrow. I know you're excited. I am hyped up. There's someone else here that is super hyped up along with me, and we are going to break down a lot of things that pertains to Michigan's season opener against Fresno State, and that is former Michigan offensive lineman Trente Jones. We're going to talk about it here on this episode of Locked On Wolverines.
You are Locked On Wolverines, your daily podcast on the Michigan Wolverines, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday. We are back and doing it. Locked On Wolverines podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. I'm your man on the ground, Isaiah Hole, publisher of Wolverines Wire through USA Today Sports Media Group. I can't even say where I work. Trente, you are over there on the other side of me, making your debut. Super pumped to have you. This is actually take two, people, because one of us, I don't want to embarrass the person who did it, and so I'll just kind of keep it generic. One of us forgot to hit record after we went 5 minutes deep. I don't want to put the blame on Trente, probably because he isn't the one that did it. But nonetheless, Trente, super excited to have you, man.
Can't wait to get it going, Isaiah. Let's freaking go again.
So what we were talking about and are going to talk about here again is Michigan has a lot of players that, well, actually, I forgot. The first thing we talked about was a different topic. We're going to go back to that. This is your first time because you've obviously been on the team for quite some time. I hearken back, as I was covering the team, of course, to thinking about you sitting in the stands at basketball games as a recruit. That feels like it was yesterday. It also feels like it was 20 years ago. So how different is this for you that you're going to be watching this not as a part of the team after going through the climb, winning the national championship, all of that stuff? How different is this going to be for you?
It's definitely going to be a different experience. Being a fifth year when I left Michigan, graduated, of course, I had never been to a game before being a recruit. So finally being able to see what it is like to see the Michigan Wolverines in their winged helmet come onto the field, it's definitely going to be a new experience. One that's very unique due to my knowledge of what goes on, what they go through, how the training is, the cycles of meetings and eating and, working out, trying to figure out who they are as a team, finding their identity. I just know that it takes a lot of work and it goes day in and day out without knowing what the next thing is going to behold. So I feel like it's going to be spectacular to, go on that field once again, try to show the Big Ten who's the boss and who is the reigning champion. So I'm definitely excited, and that's me.
Well, this team is going to look a little bit different, but a lot of the players still involved here. And one of the places that it's going to be markedly different is no more J.J. McCarthy. He's gone to the NFL. And instead, there will be a new starting quarterback, and the battle had come down to Davis Warren and Alex Orji. And most of us had thought that if it was that duo, that it was going to be Alex Orji. But news started to leak last night. Don't know how the veracity of said news, that it sounds like Davis Warren may have indeed won that starting quarterback job. You've played with Davis Warren. What are your thoughts on that, and what does he bring to the table if he is indeed the starter?
Going into it, I knew that Alex Orji is an athletic specimen, and I know that Davis Warren is definitely an underrated athlete. I know that they are both the gunslingers that we all know, true and behold. And I also know that both of them are very competitive. At the end of the day, I know that when I was a 2 playing tight end, I played a lot with Davis Warren on Thursdays, Wednesdays, depending on the week. We would go and it would be the 2 offense. I was on the one offense for tight end when it was all 4 tackles healthy. And the one offense would be going against the 2 defense outside. The 2 offense would go inside to go against the first defense. Usually that was Davis Warren, and Alex Orji would be outside because sometimes they needed him for a package or whatever. But they would send Davis Warren inside, and I would be in there with Davis Warren. Left to right, it would be Miles Henton, Gio, Cripp, and Heem, right guard, and then I would be the right tackle. We would always go in there, torch up the defense, knowing that Davis Warren is in the backfield. He was a field general. He would run around. Sometimes, I know it sounds crazy, sometimes he would run around there like Kyler Murray, just run around, juking people, throw a dot. It was crazy. I wish I could show y'all what I saw, but dude, I have the utmost trust in Davis Warren. He's a dog, and if he did win that position, I wouldn't blink an eye because I know that the team would trust him. The boys up front would trust him, and the defense would trust him, and that's all we need.
So no worry whatsoever about the quarterback position, because to me, that's, there's a lot of unknowns. We've gotten accustomed to J.J. McCarthy. Now, as someone who's followed the team for quite some time, someone who went to school all the way back in the mid-2000s, and if we really want to be honest about it, I started Michigan in 1999. Let's not talk about that. But nonetheless, no one has J.J. McCarthy is the first quarterback that Michigan's had out that I feel like people weren't clamoring for the backup, because Tom Brady was the quarterback when I started, and everyone wanted Drew Henson. I was oblivious to that because I didn't pay that close attention and was just like, he's the starting Michigan quarterback, I'm going to support him. I mean, even Chad Henne, he had his first couple years and everyone was behind him. And but then Ryan Mallett comes in. People wanted to see Ryan Mallett, and they got to because Chad Henne was injured. And then, I guess people were behind Denard for the most part, but there still were some kind of complaints about Denard's passing. People, obviously, he was a great runner. And then that's been kind of a revisionist history situation where people were like, no, we absolutely loved Denard the whole way through. And it's like, yeah, I saw the complaints. But JJ is probably the first one where no one was sitting there saying, I need to see the backup. I need to see exactly what the backup can do. So you are supremely confident in, if it's Warren, if it's Orji, that they're going to be able to get the job done against some of these tougher teams that Michigan's going to play.
Absolutely. I know that, our offense runs behind the offensive line, and you could put, not to say that either of those quarterbacks are bad. I'm obviously very confident in those two, but I'm saying you could put a middle school quarterback back there, and I would feel confident of them being able to drive down the field, because at the end of the day, if we have to run the ball 10, 15, 20 times to get the quarterback comfortable, we would do that. And I say we, but you know what I mean. I keep going back because I know I've lived this life for 5 years. It is going to be a transition, but those boys up front, I feel confident that they are going to make sure the quarterback, regardless of who it is comfortable and can throw some dice.
Well, you've heard it here first, folks. A middle school quarterback will be starting at Michigan against Fresno State. Name has not been disclosed. It's, hang on to your hats. No, kidding, of course. All right. The other places that I want to talk about, the offensive line, the wide receivers, the defense, we have a ton to get to, but we're going to do that here in just a moment. Before we do, listen, I've been on a weight loss journey. When I say a journey, that means that I hadn't been able to lose weight until very recently. I've lost 8 pounds. And the way that I've done that was twofold. Number one, the French toast diet, which for some reason has been working for me. Don't have any idea how that makes sense from a thermodynamic standpoint. But also because I restarted my subscription to Factor Meals. You fuel up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Make today the day you kickstart a new healthy routine. So what are you waiting for? With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. Crush your wellness goals this fall with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients that you can trust. Make your day delicious from breakfast to dessert. Stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. Most importantly, keep that kitchen time to a minimum. Factory meals are ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning up. So head to factorymeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 and use the code LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code LockedOnCollege50 at factorymeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off of your next month while your subscription is active. We're going to continue on here in just a moment, but before we do, passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, that's your part. See my brain malfunction there. Your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, we are continuing on. We've got so much more to talk about. It's hard to believe that kickoff is, it's like 30 hours away, something like that. 38 hours. I don't know. I can't tell you time. I have no idea. It's not 38 hours. That's for sure. But nonetheless, Trente, there's a position group that may or may not be near and dear to your heart. And, that's the kicker. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to talk about the kicker. But it's obviously the offensive line. There's the role that you filled, that you platooned with Carson Barnhart at right tackle for some time. That is one of the two positions that needs a new starter. Center as well. And we do know the three starters, and one of them started the season last year as a starter in Miles Hinton. Josh Preeb comes over from Northwestern to be the left guard, and Giovanni El-Hadi, who we have seen start games at left guard, is going to be starting at right guard. Let's first, before I get to those two positions and the people who may start there, what are your thoughts on this new look offensive line? You've seen most of these guys, obviously, but what is a challenge in getting a new starting five and building cohesion on the line? Because like you kind of alluded to, this is the engine that's going to drive the team.
I know that coach, it's a new room. It's a new system. But they're all going back to Coach Moore's full plan, and that's to smash. And when you go in as an offensive lineman, it doesn't matter who is out there. It's always going to be about who gets dominant and who gets backed up. So you go out there, you got Hinton, you got Gio, you got Preeb. Those three automatically, are going to smash. When you hit somebody in the mouth, you blow them up, you completely move them out of the play. That opens up the entire defense for a great run. So when you're looking at offensive line play and you're looking at all five linemen, it's all going to be about who is getting dominant blocks, who's sticking on their man, who washes people out of the play when it's a pass. So I know that Coach Grant Newsom, my apologies, Coach Newsom, I knew him since when he was a graduate assistant or a freaking whatever, a GA. There it is.
Which is wild because I didn't cover him as a recruit, but I covered him as a freshman.
It's so crazy to watch those two keep going up the ranks, and now they're O-line coach and head coach. So it's definitely a beautiful thing. But yeah, like I was saying, we can talk about the right tackle, we can talk about the guards, but it all starts off with the leaders in the group, the leaders in the room. And I know that they got two powerhouse dudes at the top. So I'm excited to see what happens. Left side, definitely the older, the more experienced side. So we'll see. We'll definitely see.
Who would you say are those two leaders? Would Preeb and Hinton or Pre? Yeah. Okay. Preeb and Hinton. So when you look to that right side where you played, it was a three-way competition in camp, from my understanding, and it sounds like Jeff Percy was out, and everyone was looking at Andrew Gentry. But the last few days, it just seems to leak out there that it looks like it might be Evan Link, the second-year guy, former four-star who played high school ball in the Washington, D.C. area. I mean, that's a meteoric rise, especially considering all the things that Jim Harbaugh was saying last year about Andrew Gentry, of like, we got to find a way to get this guy on the field. Just kind of felt like it was going to be his time. He was talked about as if he was already one of the best linemen, even though he wasn't playing. What are your thoughts on the potential of it being Evan Link and potentially being that guy starting at right tackle?
Yeah, like you said, meteoric rise. I knew from when he first got there that I kept telling him, like, he's going to be great, because at the end of the day, I knew, like, his feet were crazy. It's a strong, lean, dense dude. He's 6'6". He's probably, I don't even know how much he weighs, but he probably gained weight by now. He's probably like 600 pounds. He was like 320 pounds the last time I saw him. So it was definitely not a huge surprise. It was a surprising thing because of how much they talked up Andrew Gentry, but not a surprise that he's been doing so well that he's projected to be the starter. So we won't know for sure until the last day, because nobody is going to be like, hey, this is the five that's going out there, especially with Michigan. You never know. So, yeah, when I saw that, I was like, go get it. And I texted him. And when I texted him, I was like, dude, just go ball, man. Have fun. Because at the end of the day, you only get this chance once. And those 5 years fly by. 4 years, 3 years, doesn't matter. So I told him go ball if he is the starter. I won't know. He won't know. Nobody does. But I do know that it's going to be beautiful, whoever is out there. And going back to the Andrew Gentry part, even if he's not the starter, I feel like they're going to have him at that extra tight end role. I know that that's not something that he would shy away from. So if Jeff Percy was her or Andrew Gentry was the guy, doesn't matter. They're going to have 6 offensive linemen at very minimum, which they probably have more. They're going to have 6 who can rotate in, go out, move positions. They're all very versatile, and they're all massive dudes. Like, I was only 6'3", 295 when I went in. So these are big dudes, 30 pounds more than I was, couple inches, longer arms, longer limbs. So it's definitely going to be beautiful. I know you, like, I'm like getting excited because I'm just like, dude, this is a massive group going out there. So then being able to move around, it's going to be definitely, can't say that word. It's going to be beautiful.
Thank you for not making me try to go and use bleeps and find where you said things. It's like it ends up being in the news. Like former Michigan offensive lineman Trente Jones went on an expletive-laced tirade on Locked On Wolverines podcast. The other position, center, all offseason, it's been like it's going to be either Greg Crippen or Raheem Anderson, right? Because it was just this whole, there's been transfers coming in each of the last several years, and it always seemed like it was going to be like, well, this is going to be the year that it's going to be Greg Crippen or Raheem Anderson. A lot of us didn't pay attention when this other name was mentioned frequently. It was mentioned every time that we got Sharon Moore during the off season. other people, like you talk to players at camps and stuff, and they would always mention this name. We'd all ignore it because it's like, oh, that's cute that you're just saying this name. I don't know what that means. It's Dom Judice ends up getting to infiltrate that center position, and it sounds like he might be the one winning out. What is Dom Judice like, right? Because now I've met Dom. I know that I think that the casual fan and even maybe some Locked On Wolverines everydayers, I think a lot of them might not really know much about him because we've yet to really see him play except for in like spring games.
So, Dom, we know him. We all love him. Judice, I know that this is probably something that you're going to hear me say a lot, but this is a lean, dense MF. He's strong. He's fast, very versatile. He played defense. He played offense. Most people don't even know. He plays great D tackle. He knows the offense like the back of his hand. I'm not surprised that he won that out. I was even saying, like, now that he's a, projected start, I can say this. He was talking about, like, man, why won't they give me my shot, right, at offensive line? He loves offensive line. He's always wanted to be on offensive line. They moved him to defense. He didn't bat an eye, but he definitely knew that he was about to be breaking into that second string last year, and they moved him to defense. And, to anyone, that would be frustrating. I knew that the second they gave him a chance to stay at offensive line, he would be shooting up. So I knew that, like, him having that, like, get hungry attitude of wanting to drive on offensive line, despite being a 2 on defense already, he was going to be a dog. Like, you ever talk to somebody and you're like, man, I want to be a starter on defense and offense? Oh, shoot. You hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, you're good.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so, yeah, like, he was already – are we still good? We're still good?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. On my side, I couldn't hear myself. Okay.
All good. Okay.
Him already being a second stringer on defense and then moving to offense and then still wanting to have, like, he's just such a hungry dude. I was not surprised when I heard that at all. Hungry dude. He's a grinder. Definitely one of the more strong people on the team. When he got hurt and he messed up his hand, he was trying to do one-arm pull-ups. I'm like, dude, this is a freak of nature. So, yeah, I mean, it's just more than merry, You got Heem, you got Crib, you got Dom. They could all play guard. I'm sure if Crib could go play tackle, he would. So I just know it's going to be a beautiful thing, especially since those two were in the running and he won out. That means that it was a battle for the ages. I wish I could have seen it. But, this dude's going to be beautiful on that field leading the offense.
All right, we've still got more to talk about. We want to touch on the defense, and I want to ask you about the wide receivers as well. So we're going to do that here in just a moment. But before we do, listen, it's early morning for me at 10:32 as someone who likes to wake up at the crack of 4 p.m. That's not true. I'm just making that up. But I am an insomniac nonetheless, and I can't sleep very well. So a lot of days I need to pick me up, and that is where I turn to 5-Hour Energy. 5-Hour Energy is how I get into the zone. Those 5-Hour Energy shots give you the feeling of alertness and energy that you need to do exactly that. With zero sugar and a convenient portable size, it's the perfect pick-me-up for getting stuff done. The 5-Hour Energy website has flavors galore like watermelon, tropical burst, grape, berry, and there's more flavor for everyone. Try them all. On the site, you even have the option to build your own 12-pack or 24-pack. And I can't seem to mute my phone. See, we're glitchy today. There we go. On the site, you even have the option to build your 12 or 24 pack. You choose the flavors and mute it. And deliver it right to your door. See, that was like Freudian slip. Mute it. If you go to 5hourenergy.com, that is the number 5energy.com, and get some 5-Hour Energy product today. You can use my promo code LOCKEDONCFB to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. This code is not good on subscription orders, so go to 5hourenergy.com. All right, one more thing. College football season is here, and you are going to need to gear up with the coolest Michigan apparel in the game. You have heard me talking about it for years. You've seen me wearing it frequently. You've even had the founder of this company on the show, and that's the gear that I get from Homefield. I'm currently wearing a Homefield apparel shirt right now. Homefield is a premium collegiate apparel company based out of Indianapolis, and there's no place I'd rather get my Michigan gear from. With their retro modern style, Homefield scours every school's history to find those amazing, unique designs that you're going to love, and you're really going to stand out as well. Right now, they're running their Can't Miss Kickoff promotional blitz with cool things like these boxes that have everything you need to wear for the season, a shirt, a long sleeve like the one I'm currently wearing, a hoodie, socks, and a koozie. The hoodie, if you watched Thursday's episode, that's where I got it from. The premium one even comes with a hat as far as the box is concerned. They have the coolest bomber jacket I have ever seen, celebrating the national championship as well. I'm sad that I missed out on being able to get that. Hopefully they make some more. So go to homefieldapparel.com and use my code GOBLUE24 to get 15% off of your first order. That's homefieldapparel.com, promo code GOBLUE24 to get 15% off of your first order. Homefield Apparel, just the coolest college gear in the game. All right, let's finish out strong, Trente. We're definitely going overtime on this, but nonetheless, it's a first go-round, and it's a first go-round for everybody because we got first go-round for Michigan tomorrow as well. I want to touch very briefly, stay on the offensive side just for a brief moment before we go to the other side. And that is the one place that I have the biggest questions. It's not quarterback, it's not offensive line. It's the wide receiving group. And I kind of go back and forth because there's moments where I'm like, okay, I think that this is going to be okay. But then there's moments where I'm like, what if it's not? Because there's not a lot of returning production. And when I say returning production, I don't just mean guys who have seen the field. I mean guys who have seen the field and made plays. Tyler Morris had the big play against Alabama, but that was his only touchdown so far in his 2 years so far in Ann Arbor. Samaj Morgan has had a little bit more success as far as production, but they're going to need to rely on more than just those two. Obviously, Fred Moore is going to be in the mix, and Marion Walker is transferred back in. I'm excited about Kendrick Bell. No one's really talking about him, I feel, except for me. And then also CJ Charleston transfers in. What just kind of quick general thoughts. What do you think about this wide receiving core? And yes, I know that Michigan wants to run the ball, but there might be times like last year that they have to throw it in order to run it. So what's your general thoughts on that wide receiver group?
So I know that in this wide receiver group, there's not like that massive, like Nico Collins type wide receiver, DPJ, where they'll go up and just go snag the ball. But I know for a fact, one person that you did not mention, his name is Peyton O'Leary. And that is a sneaky candidate for one of those wide receivers that can go up and get it. I know he's 6'3", dense, he's 200 pounds, he's probably 210 now. He can go up and get it. And last year's spring game, you saw a lot of that where he was just exposing DBs left and right. And, it's just something that you can't teach. Size and hands. Obviously, you can teach hands, but size. Dude, massive dude. I feel like if they use him more than not, they would be definitely more successful. And he's a great blocker. And that's something that you need with a run-heavy offense. So I know Peyton O'Leary, he's a dog. Joe Taylor, he's a punt return specialist, but he also plays wide receiver. Dog. He's like a slot type of guy. You got Kendrick Bell, like you said, that's a big dude too. He's a little bit more on the slender side, more fast. I feel like you can get him on those jet sweeps type players, even though he's a tall dude. He's lengthy. He gets going. Tyler Morris obviously has the speed, has the hands. He can definitely catch, get some yak. Frederick Moore, he plays big, even though he's a little bit smaller than some of the other guys. Plays big, catches with his body sometimes in traffic, keeps the ball. Love that out of him. Marion Walker, one of the freakiest athletes on the planet. I've been saying freaky athletes. He's one of the most on the planet. once in a lifetime athlete. I've seen him run a 5.10.5, and I know that's not football, but when you can put everybody on a stage to do one movement, and he does that movement better than everybody else, that's all I need to see. He was up there with Roman Wilson, and he's way heavier, probably, well, he's definitely way taller, but I don't know if he's way heavier, but he's definitely heavier than Roman Wilson, and he's running faster than him. Crazy. And finally, Samaj Morgan. Not a lot that needs to be said. He's the screen genius. He knows how to read it very good. I feel like that's something that could be a strength for the Michigan offense. You know, when you're running, passing, a screen every once in a while, Samaj Morgan, dangerous. So I'm not worried about the wide receiver group. It's just we need to definitely use them as much as we can, and that won't be an issue with the quarterbacks that we have this year. So that's my 2 cents. Trente Jones.
All right, we have to wrap this up, but 2 minutes. The defense. No one expects the Michigan defense to be good. Everyone knows this is the biggest weakness on the team. It's been weak for years. I'm kidding. Everyone knows it's the defense we know is going to be elite. I feel like for whatever reason, it's taken the national media to kind of catch up with that. For some reason that people thought there was going to be a drop off. I think that there's a chance that it could be even better than it was last year, even despite losing some of the leaders like Mikey Sainer still on that team, Chris Jenkins as well. Mike B. Can't forget about Mike B, man. I love Mike B. But what are your thoughts on this defense in just a couple minutes? What do you think? What are you looking for out of this group?
Okay, so first off, Jyshawn Barham, terrifying. I'll get back to him. You got defensive players where they have a lot of production and they don't even play a lot, like TJ Guy. He's going to be one of the best second string backup defensive linemen you've ever seen. I played against him, very good. Then you got Derek Moore, massive dude, very hard to block one-on-one. You got Josiah Stewart. He runs over people 3 times his size. That's terrifying. Then you got can't stop on the D tackle room. You got Kenneth Grant. You got Mason Graham. You got Rayshawn Benny. You got Enow. Absolutely freak when it comes to just bench pressing and just being strong naturally. That's absolutely terrifying. Then you go back. Then you got a leader coming back. He's been in every position. He's like, what's the dude's name on the Vikings? He played for Michigan. Anyways, he plays like a genius. Quentin Johnson. Mm-hmm. I've been with him since 2019. Very old dude, knows the defense well. Very smart player. Then you got a lot of different players here and there, but I just know that Makari Page, Rod Moore, even Zeke Berry get back there in that safety DB position. All of those dudes locked down. But when it comes back to that D-line room, every single person on that starting 4 and then every person on the backup is just really athletic and can really chase down anybody on the field. You got Kenneth Grant, he's proven it. Mason Graham, you're not running away from him. Josiah Stewart, terrifying on the edge. Derek Moore is bigger and stronger than Josiah, and he's on the other side of Josiah. So what are you going to do? Me personally, I say just freaking hold him. If you got to hold him, that would be your best shot. That would be your best option. So, yeah. Oh, let's go back. Let's go back to the Maryland transfer. That dude right there, strongest dude I've ever seen that size. You've been looking around, you've seen 44 Max Bredesen say that he's like a brick wall. You got Hillel Mulling saying that if you're going to block him, you better get right. That dude put me on my tail. I am 6'3", 315 at this point in the season, and I'm at tight end. They say, go block number 1. I'm like, all right, that's easy. I'm a big dude. I'm strong. I block him for 2 seconds. The next half second, I am on the ground. And that's not to bolster him up, not to bring me down. But, dude, when I tell you that is a strong dude and it's going to be extremely hard to put tight ends around him because he's also fast and athletic, that's going to be an exciting thing to watch. So definitely number one is going to be my Trente's pick for most watched player this season on this defense, man, especially because he's a junior now. I don't even think he's a senior.
No, I think you're right. Man, I am hyped up. I cannot wait for tomorrow. And we're going to see Michigan in action at 7:34 p.m. at the Big House, hosting the Fresno State Bulldogs. The debut of Sherrone Moore as the first, as an actual full-time head coach instead of just being an acting head coach. Man, we had so much that we could have talked about, and we just didn't have time. But we will do it again next week. So thank you for joining, Trente.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me.
All right. Well, that will do it for us today. For Trente Jones over there, I am Isaiah Hole. We will talk to you again soon. Peace.